What if one act of revenge goes too far? One moment of passion changes everything, and one man prepares to lose his freedom. Because next week in Walford, nothing stays under control. We're back with your next week EastEnders spoilers, and trust me, this week is intense, emotional, and full of consequences. There are 5 major spoilers coming up, and each one raises a serious question about what's really going on beneath the surface. And all of this unfolded too in the week commencing Monday, 20 July. But before we get into it, think about this. When does revenge stop being justice and start becoming cruelty? Can you really walk away from temptation once you've crossed the line? And what happens when someone truly believes their life is about to fall apart? Let's break it all down. 1. The Walford teens seek revenge on Joel Marshall.
Joel's return is anything but quiet. From the moment he's back, there's tension in the air, and it's clear he's not welcome. After everything that's happened, people haven't moved on. They haven't forgiven him, and they certainly haven't forgot. School, the hostility is immediate. Nugget, Avani, Amy, they're all against him. There's anger, resentment, and a deep sense that Joel hasn't really changed. Even at home, things are far from stable.
Vicky is struggling to deal with his presence, while Ross is doing everything he can to rebuild some kind of normal life for him, trying to get him back into education, trying to give him another chance. But nothing is working. Joel feels isolated, shut out, completely alone. And just when it seems like no one is willing to see a different side of him, something unexpected happens. Lily Slater shows him kindness. After seeing him help Janet, she offers him a moment of understanding, a space to talk. And for a brief moment, Joel opens up about his past, about everything he's been through. It's the first time we see vulnerability. But it doesn't last, because reality quickly steps back in. Amy, Avani, and Jean interrupt, and the message is clear. He's still not accepting. And that rejection pushes things even further. Joel tries to leave Walford altogether, booking a train, ready to walk away from everything. But he's convinced to stay. And that decision leads straight into a trap. Because while he's trying to move forward, others are planning something very different. The teens invite him to Walford Park, pretending it's just an end-of-term celebration. But it's not a celebration. It's revenge. They turn on him, locking him to a fence, soaking him in beer, and recording the whole thing. Public humiliation. But here's the bigger question. Have they just gone too far?
Lauren Beale and Mark Fowler succumb to temptation. This storyline is complicated and dangerous. Lauren and Mark are already on shaky ground. There's tension between them, especially when Lauren discovers that Mark hasn't been completely honest about a deal he's involved in. A car. A risky situation. And suddenly, the police are involved.
Mark panics, and in that moment he turns to Lauren. What starts as an argument quickly escalates. It's intense, emotional, and completely out of control. And then it shifts. That anger turns into something else, a moment of passion. But just as quickly as it begins, Lauren pulls away because she knows this isn't right. Back on the square, things don't settle. Mark asks to meet again, privately, and Lauren agrees. But afterwards, she makes a very deliberate move. She shows affection towards Peter, almost like she's trying to cover something up or convince herself that everything is still normal. So the real question is, was that moment just a mistake? or has something deeper already started? Jack and Denise struggle as Craig Ingram steps in. Jack and Denise are drifting apart. There's a clear emotional distance, something unspoken that's creating tension between them. Denise is holding on to something painful, but she's not ready to talk about it. And Jack can feel it, but he doesn't know how to fix it. At the same time, Jack is dealing with his own frustrations. Being placed on compassionate leave doesn't sit well with him, and when he finds out that his case is being handed over to Craig Ingram, it only makes things worse. Craig steps in professionally, but his presence adds pressure. Trying to deal with everything, Jack turns to Phil for advice. And Phil pushes him to face his emotions, to stop avoiding what's really going on. Eventually, Denise opens up. She talks about her grief, about the loss she's been carrying. But instead of bringing them closer immediately, it creates more conflict, more honesty, but also more tension. Until finally, something shifts. They begin to understand each other again. They reconnect. But that moment doesn't last long, because Jack gets an urgent call about Joel, and suddenly everything changes again. 4. Linda Carter makes it her mission to save the community centre and meets a new love interest. Linda is trying to rebuild her life and find purpose again. Her attempt to run a sober dance class doesn't go smoothly, but she doesn't give up. Because now something even bigger is at risk, the future of the community centre. And Linda refuses to let it fall apart. Determined to save it, she starts reaching out for help.
That's when Ian introduces her to counsellor Clive Masters. And from the moment they meet, there's a connection, a spark. As Linda begins organising fundraising efforts and bringing people together, Clive steps in to support her. And it's not just practical support. There's chemistry building between them. Even Elaine notices it, and she doesn't hesitate to encourage things. So could this be the start of something new for Linda? Or is it just a temporary distraction from everything she's dealing with?
And finally, Ian. A man who believes he's about to lose everything. After everything he's been through, Ian starts to come to terms with his situation. He begins to forgive himself, and he agrees to one last drink, a farewell moment that could mark his final night in Walford. The Beales gather at Harry's barn, trying to keep things light, trying to make it feel like a celebration. But the tension is still there. Because when Chelsea arrives, questions are raised, awkward ones that shift the atmosphere. Ian quietly steps away from the group. Lauren follows him, and Peter stays behind, defending his father, trying to hold things together. But the question remains, is this really the end for Ian, or could something still change his fate? So, those are your 5 EastEnders spoilers for next week. And this week isn't just dramatic. It feels like a turning point. Revenge, temptation, emotional truth, and possible goodbyes. But now I want to hear from you. Which storyline are you most interested in? And do you think the teens went too far with Joel, or was it deserved? If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest spoilers. I'll see you in the next one.